As of January 1st, 2010, the Oregon DMV has issued limited term driver's licenses, instruction permits, and identification cards to applicants who are lawfully in the United States on any type of temporary stay. Common examples include persons on student and employment visas. The expiration date for limited term ID is not based on a cardholder's birth date. Instead, the limited term card is valid for as long as the cardholder's lawful presence in the United States is valid. Or, if there is no end date to the cardholder's lawful presence status, the limited IDs are valid for 1-year periods. Limited term cardholders must prove their lawful presence in the U.S. each time they renew their Oregon driver's license or identification card. These changes are a result of an Oregon law passed in 2008. These limited term IDs grant the same privileges as regular Oregon driver's licenses, permits, and identification cards, so they qualify as an acceptable standalone ID. Checking an ID is more than you think it is. The OLCC has what is called the Minor Decoy Program. The OLCC has volunteers who are 17, 18, 19, and 20 years of age who look under the age of 26. And they send them into all establishments that sell alcohol and or serve alcohol. The Minor Decoy Program is a way to see if alcohol licensed businesses are following the law by checking the ID of anyone appearing to be under the age of 26 and not serving alcohol to minors. By law, the program randomly selects establishments to make the program fair and not single out any one licensee. However, they will target a business if they have failed a previous minor decoy operation or have had compliance issues or complaints made against the business for allegedly serving minors. The decoys use their own IDs, and if they are asked for their ID, they will either show it or say they left it in the car and leave the premises. They cannot lie about their age, but they can be evasive. An agent may already be inside to observe what happens. One might accompany the minor, or one might follow them in. Usually, there's another agent outside. The problem is, 15 to 20% of the time, the minor decoy is served or sold alcohol. Half the time, the ID is never asked for, and the other 50% of the time, it is looked at but not really checked. The many reasons the sale was made was because they simply got the math wrong, turned 18, not 21, couldn't see, didn't use their glasses, and they simply were not paying attention. In the classroom setting, we have an exercise where we will ask one individual to check another individual's identification. Upon doing so, I will then ask the person who checked the ID what the expiration date of that person is. 95% of the time, they will not be able to give me the answer, and that's my point. We get busy, we don't pay attention, and that's how quickly you can serve a minor. You've got to take the time to check an ID properly. I'm going to give you a roadmap, which is going to help you out a great deal. There are 10 things I'm going to ask you to look on an ID. You might be thinking, I don't have time to check 10 things on each and every ID, but just imagine that you are standing in front of the judge and you have just been charged criminally and are facing a large fine and a suspension of your alcohol serving permit. At that time, you'll be thinking you did have time to check the ID. The 10-point checking guide. Once you've filled out the information, please take the 10-point checking guide to work with you. In time, using this tool will become second nature to you and it will greatly reduce the odds of you serving a minor. Write these down, please. Number 1, look at their photograph. Number 2, their year of birth. Number 3, their day of birth. Number 4, the month of birth. Number 5, the birth date and expiration date, which I'll explain to you in a moment. Number 6, does that age match up? If you think they're barely 22 or 23 and they have an ID saying they're over 30 years old, you might look a whole lot closer and maybe ask for a second piece of identification. Number 7, their height. Number 8 is their weight. Weight can change, height not so much. Number 9, the gender. And number 10, the state seal. Let me explain number 5 to you. The month and day of the birth date and expiration date are the same. Example, if your birth date was 7/9/68, then you would expire on 7/9/96. Your expiration date would be 06/24/2001.